Well, since I hinted at it at the end of the Clone Wars video, I'm now forced by law to do all the animated Star Wars shows. I'm sorry, the least bad ones. Well, I guess before I absolutely rip this show to shreds, I should talk about the stuff that I like. And don't worry, this list is going to be insanely short. I like the Kanan stuff. The stuff with him and Hera is probably when the show is at its best, because they are actual people, they act like actual people. I really loved all the Ahsoka and Vader stuff. In fact, that's probably when the show is at its best. It's when they use Ahsoka and Vader, because those two have crazy potential together. I like that we got to see what happened to Rex, Wolf, and Gregor after Order 66. Maul, as always, was fabulous. I love Maul to death. And the Grand Inquisitor was cool. And they even got Jason Isaacs to play him. And if you don't know who that is, or if that name sounds even a little bit familiar, it's because he played Lucius Malfoy in Harry Potter. Now it's time to get into the stuff in the show that I absolutely despise. And if you're worried about the runtime of this video, you should be. This is going to be long. First of all, I hate Ezra. I hate him. He's annoying, he's whiny, and he complains all the time. And the worst part about his character is that he has no definitive character traits. I will pay someone all the money I have on me to name one character trait that he has, other than he's a good kid who means well. Sure, whatever that means. There is only one internal question this guy has in his mind, and it is, should I be a good guy or should I be a bad guy? You know what? The Clone Wars had this exact same question in it during the Mortis trilogy. And that whole trilogy was 3 episodes long, and Rebels had 75. That means 0.02% of the Clone Wars did what Rebels didn't do in 75 episodes. Ezra's voice actor cannot act to save his life, too, because almost all of the lines of dialogue he has are just like, but I can save them. You just don't believe me, Kanan. What if we can learn something from the Sith? That is, everything he says, and that is how he says it. I kid you not. And that gets annoying after 75 episodes. And 13 hours. And you know what? Maybe I would like Ezra more if he didn't feel the need to insert himself into every episode. And I mean every single episode. And during the Ahsoka and Vader fight, the best part of the entire show, he feels the need to quip. I don't need a quip every 5 milliseconds. And this is coming from someone who likes the Marvel movies. During the middle of the fight, he interrupts it and says this.
I need a lot more training.
Why did he feel the need to say that? And not to mention during the Twin Sons episode, the episode that's supposed to be the final send-off for Maul, the episode that's supposed to be good, he feels the need to interrupt 2/3 of it. And it's not just Ezra, it's Ezra and Chopper. The goofy little droid, that little goofy goober that Ezra needs to hang out with every single episode. He's also sent along. So it's just 2/3 of a good episode of Ezra and Chopper just hanging out with Tusken Raiders. That isn't an interesting episode, Filoni. And it sucks because the Maul fight was really awesome. It was short and sweet and perfect. All of it was perfect down to every last minute detail of the fight. It was some great storytelling in 1 minute. Too bad we couldn't get a whole episode of that. Too bad Ezra had to exist. You know what? I'm tired of talking about Ezra. Let's move on to something else. So the Grand Inquisitor dies. No! So he gets replaced by Team Rocket. And they also have the really gimmicky lightsaber that spins. But they use it for something special. They use it to fly like a helicopter. Do you guys remember that awesome fight scene between Obi-Wan and Anakin in Episode 3? Imagine if one of them held their laser swords over their heads and flew away. And one of these goofy goobers can use their lightsaber as the ultimate Beyblade. In fact, that same goofy little guy got into a fight with Kanan. Kanan slashed his hilt, and he saw that his hilt was broken, so he decided to try and fly away. He mysteriously blew up somehow. Plus, these guys don't really matter because they get killed off by Maul the episode he's introduced. Filoni, this is not how you write a bad guy in your TV show. You know this. More on Maul. Ezra sees him in a cave and it's like, this Sith-looking dude? I should trust him. Yes, he has red body tattoos and has horns and red eyes of the Sith. But something tells me that he is really trustworthy and I should put all my faith into him. Who am I kidding? Maul's like the best character in the entire show, exclusively because he's the only character who just makes fun of the main protagonist. And he's also like really petty. He spends his entire runtime on this show doing what he did on the Clone Wars and just trying to hunt down Kenobi. And it's just kind of funny. But yeah, I really hate how this show makes the Empire look weak. Because they can't even take out a small group of rebels. And because they can't kill a small group of rebels, I'm not scared of them. They can't even take out the droid. That's how incompetent they are. Every fight in this show, they lose. And I kid you not, every single one of these, and they lose. They get robbed of their uniform all the time, and they can't aim. To be fair, I wasn't scared of the CIS in the Clone Wars, but the CIS wasn't a regime of space Nazis. No, the CIS was a group of goofy battle droids who sound like this and say, Roger, Roger. Their elite Jedi killers got beat by a droid. I'm not making that up. He gets beaten by a droid who steals his ship. Filoni, this is not how you make your bad guys look intimidating. This is how you make them look like goofy little goobers. And Grand Admiral Thrawn, the person who everyone claims is the best part of this show, guess what? He gets beaten by space whales. Space whales is how the greatest tactician gets beaten up. I also don't really like how the clones were treated. I know I was just praising the clones a bit ago, but like Gregor wasn't killed in a good way because he was shot by an officer, one singular officer. You know how we all thought he died in the Clone Wars? You remember how sad that was and how cool he died because he died trying to protect people? He did technically die trying to protect people, but not in a cool way like he did. I would at least expect him to die in a cool way if you're going to kill off a fan favorite character. I try to avoid saying this all the time because it makes me sound like a film snob. I want to go and watch a film and drink fine red wine. Rebels doesn't really feel like Star Wars. I know that's a phrase that gets tossed around a lot nowadays, but I hate it when I hear people say that The Last Jedi isn't Star Wars, but then they defend this with the lightsaber helicopters. Like, this is so dumb. Why do you guys hate The Last Jedi? Last Jedi's good. It's not even that bad. I don't understand why this show sucks so much. We know that Filoni can make a good show. He's done it before and he's done it after. Why does this show suck so much? Is it because of Disney? Did Disney give them so much of a budget that they felt like they just could coast on through making this and not make it good because they have a higher budget than they did when they made Clone Wars? I don't think so, because Clone Wars Season 7 had a higher budget than the rest of the 6 seasons, and that season was good. It was way better than all of Rebels. Even the filler arc was better than most of Rebels, and that arc sucked devilish goat nuts. That's a phrase I never thought I would bring back. You know, the more I think about this show, the more and more I hate it. Right now, you cannot contain the amount of vitriol and hatred that I have for this show. It goes insanely deep. This show is so incredibly dull that I fell asleep multiple times while watching it. And when I woke up, I knew exactly what was going on. This is an action-adventure show. I should not be able to go to sleep and know what is happening. It sucks to spend 37 hours of your life watching the show just to forget what happened immediately afterwards. It feels like a dream. That's the best way to describe Star Wars Rebels. In a dream, you could be watching your favorite movie or eating your favorite food, but you don't know how it feels because it's a dream. And you know what happens to dreams? You wake up. Final review score, 2 out of 10. Watch Clone Wars instead.